I thought I was going to need notes, but I literally just feel like I'm just going to pour into you, and we're going to go into where I came from, how I fell into this line of work, and where I'm at now, because there's been so much that's happened in 2025. And I think you, as my audience, my community, and supporting this crazy new podcast, The Law of Cassidy, you need to be a part of it and understand. Hi, I'm Cassidy, and welcome to the Law of Cassidy. I can't believe we're doing this thing, but we're doing it, so bear with me. You probably know me as the girl that talks about sex, but there's a lot more behind it, and I am going to share that with you today. The truth, the highs, the lows, how I built a multi-million-dollar business online talking about sex, and how I went from selling vibrators in living rooms in Utah, driving around a mobile sex store, to starting this podcast, The Law of Cassidy, and now building my own brand. What motherhood, marriage, therapy, and burnout have taught me, and why I'm stepping into this new chapter on my terms. So this episode's going to be a little raw, a little just me, no filter, really going into the nitty-gritty, where I came from, why I'm doing this, and give you a little piece of what the Law of Cassidy is going to be about. So here's how things are going to work around here. There's definitely going to be a lot of fun to be had. There's going to be me sharing, building this brand, talking about being a woman in Utah, talking about sex. I'm going to bring in other people, other entrepreneurs. We're going to bring in my husband, friends, that whole dynamic. And we're going to talk about things that we're not supposed to say out loud. Other times, I'm going to just navigate through what's happening in my life and hopefully help you guys if you're wanting to take a risk and try something new too. So we're going to start with something I like to call confessions in the DMs. So I know a lot of people have said to me before, what is going on in your comment section? What do your DMs look like? And yes, there is a lot of garbage, clearly, because I'm the lady on the sex swing on the internet, but there is also a lot of really good information, a lot of positive information, and a lot of great questions that I know the people that want to ask the questions are asking. And if you're sitting there behind your keyboard wondering, can I ask her this? The answer is yes. So every episode, we're going to talk about confessions in the DMs, whether I go through one or two different DMs I got throughout the week. I want to go through those and hopefully educate you, answer questions, and really focus on the community that I've built here online. So, confessions in the DMs. Let's get into it. The first one we're going to talk about today. Before we do, I want to lay out some guidelines because communication matters and consent always. So, number one, in the DMs, I do not want your dick pic. Do not send it. Not interested. Okay? 2, I do not need a sugar daddy. But if you feel the need to send me money, my Venmo is at Cassidy-Bybee. Okay? And 3, I don't know what you guys are doing being so obsessed with my feet. Okay? Apparently it's a thing. I need you to literally Google Charcot-Marie-Tooth right now because I legit have a disability. I have a form of muscular dystrophy. And if you have not really looked at my feet, I'm just going to have you Google that because if you're interested in my feet, just Google Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Okay, let's get there. So first one, this is coming from a female follower, and she writes, your video made me chuckle. My husband is always unloading the dishwasher and doing laundry, and it's such a turnoff. Okay. I need a manly man. How did you get your man to be more sexual? He'll say things like, can I do this? Do you want to get naked? And honestly, it kills the vibe. Help. Okay. So let's talk about this. Yes, we all love it when our men do the laundry, help around the house, but ultimately that is not foreplay. And when I was sharing that video joking about that, I need the men listening to know if you are just showing up in your household, checking off a box so that you can get laid later, you are the problem, okay? So we actually want connection. We want you to take control. We want you to push us up against the counter like midday, like make us feel sexy, make us feel desired, make us feel wanted. Yes, show up in our household the way you should, not just because you want to get laid. Okay. And we want you to own who we are with you and take the initiative, but not in an overpowering way. And I'm here to tell you, when it comes to intimacy and in your relationship, it isn't just something that men know how to do and how to handle the situation. Communication is key. So as women, you need to tell him what you like, what turns you on, give him different scenarios, and that will help in that dynamic. So I just wanted to touch that because I did make a video talking about how if men, we need to focus on women's emotional and foreplay starts outside of the bedroom. But if you're just doing the dishes to get laid, you're the problem. So I need you to think through that process a little more. Okay. This next one isn't really a DM. I just have to share this because this made me so happy. Okay. So this came from a male follower, and he said, my wife and I had the longest 45 minutes long, the best lovemaking in the pre-dawn hours using GPS, and we are 64 years old. Okay, first round of applause for the 60-year-olds banging it out still and into the pre-dawn hours. The thing I want to tell you is sex after 50 is actually really good for you, helps reduce stress, lower blood pressure, helps with your heart, cardiovascular, all the things. So let's just make sure that we're focused, that just because you're over 50 does not mean you can't get jiggy with it. Okay. We need to make sure that we are still being intimate and we are still showing up. And I just wanted to celebrate that because 64 years old and banging it out with the GPS. And if you're like, what the hell is GPS? Just go to my website. It's CassidyBybee.shop, or I've talked about this cream 4,000 times on my Instagram. It's a G-spot cream and it apparently helps into the wee hours. So that's a good thing. And sex is still important after 50. Okay. So let's jump into it. I thought I was going to need notes, but I literally just feel like I'm just going to pour into you, and we're going to go into where I came from, how I fell into this line of work, and where I'm at now, because there's been so much that's happened in 2025. And I think you, as my audience, my community, and supporting this crazy new podcast, The Law of Cassidy, you need to be a part of it and understand. So let me talk about myself for a little bit. Totally awkward, but kind of needed. So those of you who don't know me, my name's Cassidy. I grew up in Utah, still live here. Yes, I was raised Mormon. I have a older sister, an older brother, and a younger brother. And I had two very hardworking parents. My mom was going to nursing school at night. My dad was working at a lube center. They always just taught me to work hard for anything you want. So I was raised in that Mormon culture here in Utah. Had a really good life, but I watched my parents struggle with their own emotional and financial dynamics. And one of the emotional dynamics did involve me, and this isn't something I'm just shock value. Let me share this, but I think it's part of my story that you all need to understand is at a young age, I was sexually abused by a family member, and this really kind of shook my family up to the core. And something I really appreciate about my parents is they were very avid about putting me into therapy immediately. And that helped me get through that whole dynamic. And if I'm not going to get into details, it's not needed. And I couldn't get into details because that's something that I'm passionate about with therapy is I couldn't tell you what happened. I don't remember, but anyone who's ever been through that or has had that happen recently, the crisis hotline for sexual abuse is so important. Make sure to reach out, and you're not alone, and you can thrive in life and have something grow into something more, because I never expected to experience something like that at such a young age and then turn into what I do now. But it's actually helped me develop a passion into what I do now. And being a mom, I'm able to, really teach my daughter about her body and her boundaries and have a healthy dynamic there. So with that heaviness, let's bring some lightness. So normal childhood besides that, went to Ogden High, go Tigers. Then I really aspired to be a dental hygienist, the typical Utah mom job. I don't know what it is about the dental hygienists in Utah, but it was the thing. It was either that or nursing school. And it was super competitive. So I was going to school to be a dental hygienist. I was also working at a dental office, and I was waiting tables because I guess I've always been a grinder. And the funny thing is, I never made it into the dental hygiene program because I epically failed biomedical core 4 times. Yeah, kind of devastating, but I don't think it was a failure. I think it was just a redirection for my life. So still moving through college and ended up getting married at a very young age. Married my then high school sweetheart. I was 20 years old. Totally just going through the motions of what a lot of people in Utah do, and that's get married young and just continue your life. In that dynamic, that space, I then attended a sex toy party, didn't know what I was expecting, had a blast. And that woman kind of was like, have you ever thought about doing this? And I was like, well, I'm a broke, newlywed college student. Sure. Went home to the husband. He was like, oh, hell no, my wife is not selling sex toys. And I made the best and worst decision of my life. And that was to buy this little kit. Like it came in a kit. Yeah, I was like in the MLM world. We're going to get there. Okay. So I get this kit of sex toys, comes to the house when the ex-husband is home and I'm not. He realizes I bought this even though he didn't want me to do it. And he was like, make my money back. You're not doing this. And the rest is kind of history. It was crazy how it just blew up. And I found myself connecting with people and educating about a topic that is so taboo here in Utah. And it's so still hush hush. So I would go into people's living rooms. I would literally talk to them about intimacy and sex toys and lubricants and arousal creams and all the things. And then they would come into like a private room, not creepy at all. And I would have these suitcases just like full of all the sex things, and they would buy their things. And through this and years of doing this, it just developed and turned me into this confident, like motivated person. And I really thrived in helping people in their intimacy space. The hardest thing for me though, in that dynamic is at home, I had a marriage that was falling apart, and it's really hard to turn on a switch and walk into a household and educate about sex when your life is falling apart at home. And I felt like, who am I to share something about a relationship when I literally don't even feel happy in my own? So growing through that, I then was able to be financially supporting myself, and I left that marriage. I've heard before, it's kind of cheesy, but like, you know, pancakes, when you make a pancake, like sometimes the first one's just bad. Like it just sticks to the pan, or it just like folds all weird. So that's kind of like how I treated in my first marriage. It's like, it was just bad pancake. We just threw it out. So moving on. I did meet Josh after my divorce, and divorce and trying to date again in Utah when you're the sex toy lady is real freaking interesting. Let's just say that's probably its own episode one day, talking about dating stories, but not today. And I would love to get into all of the things about me and Josh's story, but that also is its like own episode, and stay tuned for the next episode because that's going to be with Josh, and there's lots of juicy details there. But that being said, jumped into the pure romance world. They bought out slumber parties, and I was thriving, doing my thing. We were traveling. I was like in the thick of this MLM world. Okay. Like if you don't know what an MLM is, multi-level marketing, it's kind of like crumbled now, but I always joked and referred to it. I mean, you've probably heard it as like Mormons losing money, like, you know, the pyramid scheme, the whole thing, but I really thrived in it. I loved helping other women, start doing what I did. I built this awesome team. There was a great sisterhood and awesome dynamic, and this just thriving. I felt like I was a part of something. I was helping train consultants all over the world. I was having all these awesome connections and just thriving in my career. And then things just kind of started to shift in a different direction. And in that shifting, I kind of was starting to disconnect. And the moment that I felt things disconnecting was also the moment I started creating content online, because like I said, I was driving a van. Literally, I had like a van. It was like a food truck van full of sex toys that I would go to people's homes. Many of you have been in the van. Yes, I can't wait to share van stories, or maybe we bring some of you on and we talk about crazy party stories. But I would drive and do these parties with this van, and everyone thought it was so freaking cool because there was sex toys and lube and So Bougie Boutique went from doing parties to creating content, and the content blew up. Clearly, that's why you're all here listening to this podcast right now. I did something that was risky, and I did something that was shocking. So many people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's doing that on the internet. Oh my gosh, did you see her in the sex swing? Oh my gosh. But I've also had a lot of people say to me, the way you do it is safe. Everything in this industry is very porn centric. It's very male dominant. It's very, oh, let's look at the titties. Let's look at the ass. Let's look at all that. That's normally what it is. And I've taken something and I've realized there's a way to deliver this because it's important. And it's not like, especially in the Mormon culture, it's not like you're just walking into the sex shop one day and you're like, hey, can you help me? No one is, and they're not educated. So how can I deliver this? Because I can't be in everybody's living room. So that's when I started creating this crazy content. I've lost multiple accounts. I've had the nastiest of the nastiest comments. I have one of my best friends. She can't even read my comments because she gets so mad. It doesn't bother me anymore because with all the bad, there's also a lot of freaking good. So that's happening. And then I'm starting to lose money because my current dynamic, it blew up and I was selling all this product online. And I negotiated a deal where I was then not shipping anymore and it was going through a 3PL dynamic. It's really freaking shitty when you have a viral video, which is very hard to do, and it's popping off like 16 million views for this sex swing, and there's no swing to buy. So I had this video that is like popping off, and this didn't just happen this one time. This was starting to happen again and again and again. And the inventory dynamic, I always carried a large inventory, but then when I shipped it to the 3PL, there was a contractual like, hey, like I need this held for me because of how much I move. And, you know, hindsight's 2020. It was just a mess. Like I was losing so much money and I was hitting a wall and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I feel like I am pouring my heart and my soul and my livelihood into something and it's not even mine. Like, it could go away tomorrow. And at this point, FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, if you don't know what that is, I didn't know either until this was like hitting, really started to like hone in on MLMs and was really hitting them hard. We shifted dynamics with Pure Romance. We then no longer had a team dynamic, which also kind of felt a little yucky and weird because me going out, meeting women, conferences, all the things, and then building this massive organization. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, P.S. by the way, you don't have your team anymore. Or, oh, P.S. by the way, thanks for all your contacts you've fed into our system. We're now going to market to them and you no longer have your team. So I'm just starting to realize like kind of like a Wizard of Oz moment, you know, Wicked. You like see the man behind the curtain and you're like, wait, this isn't what I thought it was. Like, this is not what I signed up for. So I had a lot of moments. I also had moments where I started to not agree with what was offered to me to share with all of you. I'm like, whoever is doing this, like, and it is very male dominant, okay? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It is very male dominant. It's very porn centric. And it's all about the money, the dollar bills, yo. And they literally do not care. They're like, here, let me just throw some glycerin into this lubricant, okay? Terrible. You all are going to go look at your lube now and you're going to see that there's glycerin in your lubricant. Like, no. Okay. There's so much garb. I was reading like, and I'm like, why is this a thing? My husband, we'll get to, has been in like manufacturing and formulating. And I'm like, could I like do this thing? So sitting in my sauna and realizing I got to do something. I cannot continue to grow something that's not mine. And I can't continue to keep hitting a wall. It's like I had a ball and chain attached to my ankle. Like I would get momentum, 15 million views on a video, no swings. Like, sorry, you're not selling the swings. There's no swings. And I'm losing money. So sitting in my sauna, sweating out all the feels, uberly stressed, okay? Because losing money, doesn't have inventory, feeling lost, uberly stressed, like hair falling out not even kidding. Shout out to Lacey, Lace Hair Extensions, Lace Hair Care. Her hair vitamins have saved me. So y'all should go ahead and get some. And no, she didn't tell me to put that plug in there. They just really freaking work. So I am like, what am I going to do here? And it's like the Holy Ghost spoke to me. Don't take offense to that, okay? Because I was raised on that, okay? It's like it spoke to me. It was like, it's time for you to do this. And it's like it hit me that, oh my gosh, I'm going to name this brand Covet. Where does that come from? Religious upbringing, 10 commandments, thou shalt not covet. What is a covet? It's a yearning, it's a desire, it's a want for something. And our entire lives we're told we shouldn't want, yearn, desire for something. But in reality, when it comes to owning your pleasure and understanding your body and connecting with your partner, whether you're a man or a female or whatever, like you do deserve to feel those things. And that's when Covet was born. And there are little pieces of Covet that I'm so excited to share. And that's also where this podcast came from, is it's like, okay, Law of Cassidy, if you know, you know. I'm not even going to get into it. And no, I'm not trying to be offensive. You guys, like, I'm humorous. Like, just roll with it, okay? I've built this massive thing online, talking to people, helping people, connecting with people, talking about butt plugs, sitting in a sex swing. Like, it's just second nature to me. And now I'm trying to build a brand, formulating lubes, literally sitting down, like meeting with a chemist. I don't want this in it. I want this in it. I don't want this in it. Going through these motions. We go on this family trip to Hawaii. This is leading somewhere, I promise. ADD. And in this point in my life, I decided I'm going to make this decision. I'm still working with Pure Romance because I can't just like cut that off completely. I got to feed my family somehow. And I'm stressed to the max. We are really deep in therapy, which we will dabble into this when Josh comes. When I say 2025, we're not even in 2026 yet. I'm just so excited for it, as you can tell. When I say in 2025, it was so hard. Like at this point, it was March of 2025. Hair's falling out, super stressed. We go to Hawaii. Before, my therapist is like, you need to try and do something for yourself. I'm like, cool story, Trish. We love Trish. But I'm like, do something. She's like, do you read? I'm like, no, I have ADD. I do not read. And every time I've like listened, let's be honest, I can't listen on Audible. I don't know how you guys are, but like I need to read. If I'm listening, I'm like responding to an email and like doing the laundry and still doing the dishes. And it's like, I'm not processing what's going on. So she's pushing me to read. So we run to Target. You know, the Target run you take before you go out of town where you show up for like 2 things and you leave with like $600 worth of shit. It was one of those runs. And I walk by the book section and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to read a book. So I open my TikTok and I'm like, okay, book talk. I've heard of people talk about it. I don't know what it is. Whatever. Book talk. 2 books come up. Grab the books, throw them in my cart. We go to Hawaii. When I say I'm stressed, I need you to understand, and we're going to go into this into the next episode too. Like everyone thinks I'm like some crazy, super kinky, high libido, my husband's getting laid 4 times a day type of person. And he will tell you when he's on the next episode, that is in fact not true. I was very stressed at this point in my life. I literally had no libido and it was causing like stress within my marriage. So here I grabbed this book, find ourselves in Hawaii, sitting on next to the pool. My daughter Jovi, 5 then. Yes. Sorry. She just turned 6. So I'm trying to math that. She's swimming and I just start reading this book. And for so long I had told myself I don't read. I have ADD. And I'm reading this book. Next thing I know, like 2 hours go by and my sister-in-law comes up to me and she's like, hey girl, what are you doing? Are you on some like healing journey? Like what's happening here? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you haven't touched your phone, which I work on my phone. I am a content creator. So I'm always on my phone. She's like, you haven't touched your phone in 2 hours and your nose is deep in a book. And I looked at her and I said, my therapist told me I need to read. We need to reduce stress. My hair is falling out. And she's like, okay. So I find myself reading, and this book, I probably went from like not reading anything since high school to then reading something that's probably rated R. And I was like into it. Like I never really understood like the spicy book talk world, but I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. We're on family vacation here. We are in a massive like condo situation. Me, Josh, and Jovi have our own room. There's like a kitchen family room. Then my parents are across the way, and my other siblings are in. So we're all just really close knit. Like middle of the night on this trip, because I'm reading this book, and it's like, I don't know what it's doing, but it's like all of a sudden I have libido again, because it was like a spicy book, and it was like you almost like turn into this situation where you're like, oh, this is like happening, like it's me, but it's not me. And I'm realizing this is like the first time in like 17 years that my brain has shut off, which is really sad to say. So I'm like reading this, I'm like waking my husband up at like 2 a.m. I'm like, hey babe, like trying to like jump his bones. He's like, Bob is across the way. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't care. I'm reading this book. Let's do it. So it was like helping the whole libido dynamic. And I know you're like, why are we talking about a book? I'm getting there. So fast forward, this led into this storyline of covet, which I'm not going to share too much, but I will share with you. It's always another story, another chapter. Every product has a story to tell. Every product has a connection with someone. I don't want to over-sexualize this brand. I don't want it to be like every other sex toy brand out there. If you go stalk their Instagrams, it's like butt plug, tits, ass, like vibrator. Like, I want people to connect with this brand, and I want them to connect with it where it's relatable. Whether you're the CEO that instead of taking a smoke break, you're taking a pleasure break, or whether you're the housewife that, you know, needs to like own her sexuality again because you're home with kids all day. And that's what these stories are going to tell. Everything down to product descriptions, like opening yourself into every product drop is going to be a new story, a new connection, a new vibe. And it like all came together because of this whole book scenario. Fun fact, went from not reading a book since high school to now I've read 40 books this year. Yeah, I definitely went all in, but it's all part of that branding dynamic. And there has been a lot, and I would be on here for probably 6 hours explaining to you how I've had money taken from me, how I've, you know, hired the wrong team, how I worked with a brand that didn't want to pay me and I had to then fight for my money, how I've, you know, was sourcing all my stuff, because when you're making sex toys, like they come from one place, okay? And you can build them, you can do molds, whatever. And I'm landing some awesome dynamics for the toys, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, sorry, we can't work with you because now we have a male dynamic in this industry that's like, oh, I'm in a cock blocker because I'm mad because she's not making me money anymore. We've been through it all, you guys, and I could talk to you about this forever, but I'm here to tell you thanks for like being here. I wouldn't be the person I am today without this community, this support. Thank you for trusting me with your love lives. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being interested in this wild world that I call life. And I just want this to humanize me a little bit, because I do struggle in my marriage. I do question my parenting. I do, you know, have successful things that happen and then have to struggle through other ones. And I'm finally in a place where I feel like there were days in the last year where I could not get myself up off the floor. Like it was just so hard and so heavy. And one of the biggest things I've learned building this, and you guys will be along the journey through this podcast and through my social, is you know better than anyone else. And there's a lot of people in this world that have their hands out and just want a piece of what you've built for 20 years, or they are going to try and tell you how to do something and how to lead in something that's yours. And I've heard this from so many people, so many business people. You never listen to someone's direction who's never done what you've done or is doing less than you. Like you never have a hater that's like doing more than you. So like really hone in, trust yourself. Being an entrepreneur is risky. Doing this is risky. Like you guys, I am literally walking into a space that is porn-centric, male-dominant, and I know I have a vision and a direction, and we're going to win. And I'm excited, and I'm excited to share this with you guys. And I hope I'm not rambling, because I've never just talked about myself for an hour. I don't even know if this has been an hour, but I do want to tell you another thing we're going to do on the podcast every single time is covet this. So what that is I'm going to share a product because covet, what is it? You're in a desire for something. So I'm going to share a product that I recommend, that's fun, what you can do with it. And you guys, I didn't even know these were a thing. Okay. Did you know clearly there's door swings, there's ceiling swings, there's all kinds of swings. Have you ever seen a body swing? Okay. I did some videos with Jovi's teddy bear. Don't judge me. We have to be careful on the internet. Okay. This body swing is badass. Okay. It holds 400 pounds. Literally, man wears it. Okay. Handles. It has like stirrups. So he can just like throw you on him. You can like lean into it. You can flip around. So many options. It's definitely a covet this item that I'm telling you need to try, because there was some fun that was had in Vegas in that body swing. And don't worry, the teddy bear wasn't involved in Vegas. Okay. So that being said, I am super excited you're here, and I'm super excited to share this journey with all of you. And stay tuned for our next episode, because I am bringing in Mr. Bybee himself. And I know that everyone is wanting to know, is his sex life as kinky and as wild as you all think it is? Because all you guys literally in the comments are like, oh my gosh, luckiest man alive. Like, tell me about it. So stay tuned. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be good. And thanks for joining me and the Law of Cassidy.